Okay, write down the first question that we are going to attempt. Okay, this is still the, what we call exist from chapter 1 only, or chapter 1 to like caste और जो Indian society पढ़े थे अभी तक उसी में से ये है question. How have the struggles against, question is, how have the struggles against untouchability, question is, how have the struggles against untouchability changed their forms and perspective, changed their forms and perspective from Gandhian to Ambedkarite position, changed their forms and perspective from Gandhian to Ambedkarite position. Okay. See, in this they have asked mostly about the Gandhi and Ambedkar one, okay? But I am going to do a brief description of the types of movement and types of, what you call forms that the Dalit movement has been since, what you call, multiple, around 6-7 forms. We'll discuss all of the form, okay? But in this question we will use only 2 of it, okay? And this I have given earlier also, one of the thing that I do always with the timeline evolution, right? So we could do one thing when it comes to Gandhi entered into what we call untouchability movement. When did he started? Somewhere around 1920s, right? After the Yerwada jail, that 1924 में जब वो jail से निकले थे, that is the time he started thing, and he is popularly known for the coining of term called Harijan, right? What were the forms that he actually said? We are going to make a brief diagram here itself. See, according to him, Varna is good, right? And untouchability is bad. In any format you can just write, Varna according to him is good, untouchability according to him is bad. Okay? So to reform the caste system, we should remove the untouchability. Right? So untouchability, if we have to understand, he gave 2 direction to people, like 2 different direction to 2 different group. One who is the upper caste, and then the people from the lower section, right? So he would be giving direction to each of this group, different direction, right? Everybody knows the Gandhi. I'm just repeating it, pretty much given in the GS portion. For the upper caste, they have to renounce, the way they treat the Dalit, right? They have to renounce the way that they treat Dalit, and they have to go for fasting and everything, right? Only to showcase that we are repenting what we did earlier. This is what he said to the upper caste, right? The first is renunciation of the way they behavior, change behavior, and dusra penance, right? This is what he has suggested the upper caste to do. I hope everyone is following what I'm trying to say. And then when it comes to Dalit, he asked to reform their way, right? He asked them to follow what you call practices like, cleanliness. For example, even if you are going for manual labor or some form of labor in which you are, what we call, which is considered as impure, you have to clean yourself. That is his, entire idea of what we call cleanliness, right? Swachh Bharat ka jo entire idea hai when it comes, that is what he said, even, to maintain cleanliness, even in what it is called as impure activities, okay? Please go through exact terms. I believe it's pretty much GS thing, so I don't think, one would have much of a problem. So when it comes to Gandhi, this is what he has been telling the people to do, okay? Then came Ambedkar, right? So Ambedkar would be coming somewhere around 1930s, okay? Ambedkar would be saying, the term that he will be using is depressed classes, right? When it comes to depressed classes, what are the prominent things that is said? Renounce the religion, right? Renounce Hinduism. That is the first thing that he. Then educational, economic, and political aspects one has to work. Okay? And that is where the idea of positive discrimination came. For working in all this section of education, economy, and political aspects, the idea of positive discrimination was brought about. Okay? I hope everyone is having this change in perspective also. According to him, Varna is pretty much fine. Okay? But according to him, he has to renounce even the religion. Okay? When it comes to his, he is more into behavioral part. Okay? He is more into the material part. I hope everyone is making the distinction also. Right? You can keep this in bracket, that is, this is the behavioral part and this is the material part, the material dimension he is talking about. And then yes, of course, the popular Nav Buddha movement, in which the Mahar community went for conversion to the religion of Buddhism. Right? See, the question asks you to only talk about this two, but we would be going ahead. Okay? Just keep writing it, we will be going ahead of it as well. I would be giving a short dictation also. Then comes the idea of around 1960-70 comes the idea of Bahujan. Right? Bahujan first comes, then the Dalit one. Okay? And then the idea, very idea which is even prominent today is the Dalit. Okay? So that is how the entire, what you call, it is, if you ask how the movement has actually evolved, this is how you are going to talk about. The Bahujan, you very much know the BSP party, Kansiram comes, right? He talks that polity should be, what you call, capture power. Okay, his theory is capture power and then work for education, economy of Dalit. That is the entire idea. Okay? When it comes to the Bahujan, the BSP Kansiram, he says that we should capture the power and go ahead with education, economy, upliftment of the Dalit. Okay? And when it comes to Dalit, then it will have multiple perspective. Okay? The term Dalit means one who is separate. Okay? Actually, even this term could be a short answer question in itself. Okay? How this term evolved, what is its meaning, and what are the forms of agitation associated with it. Okay? In that something on that format, the question might come. Few things which they are actually, what you call quoting for is the civil rights. Okay? Literature, they are working on literature. And then they are working for capitalism, the Dalit capitalism. Some of the form that it is taking. Okay? There are various other forms of it. Even polity is also another form in which they are working upon. The various shades of it, okay? I hope this is clear, right? There is short dictation that I have to do. Please write it down. We are going to write the variation in backward class movement. Still we haven't attempted the answer, right? We are still in the background work that we do, right? We haven't still attempted the question. Write down variation in the backward class movement. Variation in the backward class movement. The first one, I mean, the various, what you call forms and perspective. Again, we are going to discuss apart from this two also. It's a very broad and general theory that we are going to discuss. Okay. The first one is reinterpretation of. Just write in points. Okay. This is the first variation, and it is reinterpretation of myth of origin. Myth of origin. Reinterpretation of myth of origin. Okay, and the popular example is All India Yadav Association. So they would be actually telling that they are the they are the descendants of Lord Sri Krishna. Okay, so that is how they are going to reinterpret the myth of origin. So famous is the example. You could just write the All India Yadav Association, in which they claim themselves to be the descendant of Lord Sri Krishna. Another example that you could say is the SNDP movement. Where was the SNDP movement? Kerala, yes. The second thing that you could actually write, example, again one of the example, is SNDP movement, which emphasized on, just keep writing, which emphasized on one religion, one God, one caste. Which emphasized on one religion, one God, one caste. Okay. So Narayan Guru was the founder, and he was establishing parallel institution, right? Parallel temples, parallel educational, everything he was, parallel institution he was creating to the Hinduism one, okay? So that is how they were doing. Right on the next variation. Rejection of, second variation is rejection of Brahmanical Aryan religion. Rejection of Brahmanical Aryan religion. Okay. Example is self-respect movement by. Example is self-respect movement by. Who was the leader in self-respect movement? E.V. Ramaswamy Naikar, right? The Periyar, popularly known as Periyar. You can just write it in short. According to them, the discriminatory caste system, according to them, the discriminatory caste system is not a part of Dravidian culture. It's not a part of Dravidian culture. It is rather imposition of Aryan culture over Dravidians. Aryan culture over Dravidians, who are the original inhabitants of the Indian subcontinent. Who are the original inhabitants of Indian subcontinent? Okay. Right on the third variation. It is rejection of Hinduism. Rejection of Hinduism. Example is the Mahar movement Example is the Mahar movement under Dr. B.R. Ambedkar. Example is the Mahar movement under Dr. B.R. Ambedkar. Ambedkar formed the depressed class association. You could just write Ambedkar formed the depressed class association. Okay. You could write caste system is inherently sorry. Huh? I mean, of course it is going to come, and we have this caste class census nexus also, right? I believe pretty much justified it is. Just write caste system is inherently hierarchical. Caste system is inherently hierarchical. And one of the core of Hinduism. And one of the core of Hinduism. After full stop. The emancipation of depressed class. The emancipation of depressed class is not possible within Hinduism. Depressed class is not possible within Hinduism without dismantling it. Without dismantling it. Okay. You could write earlier Ambedkar was, after full stop, earlier Ambedkar was inspired by Marxism. Earlier Ambedkar was inspired by Marxism and considered religion as an opium. And considered religion as an opium. However, he later realized that religion still provide hope to the people. Hope to the people. And henceforth, hope to the people. And henceforth, he went for conversion from Hinduism to and henceforth he went for conversion from Hinduism to Buddhism, which emerged challenging the rituals of Hinduism. So he goes rituals of Hinduism. He is selecting Buddhism because I hope everyone has written from in ancient history. It is pretty much written the reasons why Buddhism was took a birth, right? So that is something pretty much obvious from that. Write on the next form, the next variation. It is a civil rights. You could just write in all the moment discussed above. That is the other variation that we have already discussed. Issue of civil rights is well incorporated. Issue of civil rights is well incorporated. Popular demand is treatment as human being. Popular demand is treatment as human being and citizen of India. And citizen of India. Right on the fifth variation, it is idea of class conflict. Idea of class conflict. Idea of class conflict. Example is the Dalit Panther movement. Dalit Panther movement. Few days ago, I shared an article. Did everyone read that article? Okay, it's pretty much important. It could even be asked, okay? So just be ready with that. And especially given that it is gaining so much of currency in popular media. So the Dalit Panther movement, you could just write, Dalit Panther movement emerged in Maharashtra, in line with the Black Panther movement of America. In line with the Black Panther movement of America. According to them, class struggle cannot be separated from anti-caste Hindu attitude. Separated from anti-caste Hindu attitude. Write down the sixth form of variation. It is power determinism. Sixth form is power determinism. Okay. Example is the Bahujan Samaj Party under Kanchi Ram, whatever the name is. Example is the Bahujan BSP under Kanchi Ram. Okay. What I said could be easily written as it believes in if Dalit come to power, other issues such as social and economic discrimination, will be automatically taken care of. Okay. Write down the seventh form of variation. It is capitalism. Seventh form is capitalism, or Dalit capitalism, a better word actually. You could just write Dalit capitalism, the seventh form is. Okay. This approach was contrary to Ambedkar. This approach was in contrary with Ambedkar. Because Ambedkar considered Manuvad and Punjivad. Manuvad and Punjivad. Manuvad and Punjivad. As a prime enemy, as the prime enemy of Dalit. As the prime enemy of Dalit. See here, Manuvad everybody knows, right? He is referring to the Manu Vedas, right? Manusmriti. And then is the Punjivad, in which that is referring to the capitalism or capital accumulation. According to him, it is a private property. To capture the private property, entire caste system was organized. Okay, so that's why he would be considering private property, which forms a foundation stone of capitalism, as something that is enemy of the Dalit. Okay, so that is what he is referring. But this Dalit capitalism, which is another variation in the Dalit movement in India, is something that is again going against the Ambedkar ideology of Manuvad and Punjivad. Okay, so you could just go ahead and explain it. In the words of Kamble, I think it's Milind Kamble, but just write in the words of Kamble. Kamble is a guy's thinker again, and he's also the founder of Fikki. In line of Fikki, there's a Dikki, so he's also the founder of. Okay. In words of Kamble, Dalit community stereotypical image, Dalit community stereotypical image of being considered as in-laws of the state, will be dismantled when a enterprising Dalit community will be successful in providing jobs. Okay. There is a critique also to this Dalit capitalism. You could just write it down. Critique. Just in short, write critique. Critique is, you could just write, it is given on the basis of, drawn on the basis of, The critique is drawn on the basis of consequences of black capitalism. Critique is drawn on the basis of consequences of black capitalism, in which the blacks who were economically way off left their black neighborhood and started living in white neighborhood. Okay. So that are all the variation. Okay, I believe we have covered all the variation when it comes to. So not only I believe now it's a 10-marker question. So I'd request you guys to write it down, the answer of it right away. Yes.
What was the principle of it was to make for the community
No, no, it's just saying that the consequence of black capitalism has been that ultimately it didn't emancipate it, only it brought class structure in the existing racial discrimination. Okay, so that could be the anticipated consequence of Dalit capitalism as well. I hope everyone is getting this, right? So that is what I am saying as a critique. Okay, please complete the, and you know what you call, question. You have 10 minutes to do. Please write it down as soon as possible. We are yet to answer the question. Okay, forms and perspective from Ambedkarite to Gandhi. That one we are going to answer. You have 10 minutes because we have many things to cover actually today. So what do you think would be a good introduction for this? Okay. No, it would be too much. Like, I believe if we go with the definition based, yeah, so I would have defined social movement. Simply. It's something, what you call as long sustained movement, something on that line, वही होता है. तो आप दलित social movement को कैसे define करते मैं वो कर देता. I would have went with such kind of answer. Okay? Well, introduction should be very, what we call to the point. Hits the bullseye kind of. You don't get time too much to, talk about unnecessary things. Okay? So introduction could have been very, what we call simple, or maybe even the definition of untouchability also could have been done. Okay? Any of this you could go ahead with. Pretty much simple. In the body, what you guys have written? You could just make it a distinction. I believe pretty much we have covered in this itself, right? It's a 10 marker question, not much to written. 75 words iske ho jayenge, iske ho jayenge. Kaam hi khatam hai fir, right? I believe it easily can be done. We could make a distinction between forms and perspective. What was the guiding principle? Would be the perspective, right? The perspective here is this one. Perspective is the ideology, right? Is a viewpoint. So it is this one, the Harijan perspective and this perspective, right? ये इनका ideology है. उन्होंने किया था. Forms is this one, right? What he ultimately ended up doing is, I hope everyone is getting the distinction between forms and perspective. Forms is the actual form of social movement that you undertake, or actual form of what you call action that you take. Okay? Perspective is the ideology that is guiding it. So we can make the answer very much structured by making a distinction between forms and perspective. I hope everyone is getting this, and we have clearly what you call discussed. I was even thinking in doing, it might be again one of the, if it was a 20 marker question, I would have gone with the social movement theory हमने किया है, right? So social movement theory में हमने resource mobilization theory को यही है, ऐसा है ना? तो this theory में बोलता है कि there are, when it comes to structure of social movement, we have to talk about three things: environment, resources, and what we call organization, right? If it was a 20 marker, I believe this kind of effort would fetch you really good marks. Okay? I would just give this, I would do this answer again in this format, okay? Just bear with me. I hope everyone, whoever has read this one, we have done it in earlier class also. We have discussed in a structure of social movement, three things has to be discussed: the environment, the resources that we have at disposal, and the organization of the social movement, okay? The resources, I believe everybody knows, the cultural resources, economic resources, something we have done on that. So, although, in this question, the political environment is not much changing. Okay? But if we take the entire, what we call timeline, starting to this point, I believe then we could do a very wonderful analysis with this three parameter. I hope everyone is getting right. In this three parameter, for example, when it comes to environment, it is clear that after what we call this independence, 1950 already we have the political representation, right? When we go ahead, we have somewhere the what we call the adult franchise is expanding. I hope everyone is getting what we would be doing when it comes to the environment, especially the political environment, right? And so we would be talking about the resources, how the resources would be increasing as we go ahead throughout the timeline. Okay? I hope everyone is getting how we would be using a theory to explain. And again, that would fetch you greater amount of mark. And especially you should be doing such a thing in the 20 marker question. In this, it is pretty much sufficient. Okay? So it would be the case of organization, right? Organization of each of this. The depressed class association or Bahujan or the Dalit. Organization is pretty much different. In this, even it could be leaderless also. Right? The upcoming Dalit movements, whichever is coming, the current one, which is happening, what you call recent, whatever has happened, mostly, for example, in the Bhima Koregaon, there was no leadership. Right? It was, again, we could have that kind of what we learned, the spin one. We have done this everything. I'm just trying to connect the dots, right? How we would be applying a theory that we have learned in a 20 marker question if they are asking how to discuss the evolution of the Dalit movement. Okay? I hope everyone is getting how we would be doing this in a 20 marker. Okay, now we are moving to the class structure, social class structure in Indian society. The next topic. When it comes to what you call social class structural topic, social class structure in India. Okay, so we have three prominent what we call class structure to study. The first one is the agrarian. Then we have the industrial. And then we have the middle class. Okay, these are the three prominent topics that one should be very much aware so as to answer the question that could be anticipated from this chapter. Okay, now we are going to individually do questions in each of these. Right on the first question. We are now going to do two questions from this one, okay, to understand the agrarian class structure. Write on the question. How has the Green Revolution changed the rural class structure? Okay, so this is pretty much what we call a question that would require even, I would be requesting help from your end as well. So first of all, what I have written, we would be going to discuss it, and then whatever you think could be added to make this answer very much holistic. As I said, 10 marker diversity is bound to pay you greater amount of marks. Okay, what should be a good introduction? It's a class is based on market position, pretty much. A simple definition of class. I hope Weberian definition of class could be a good introduction for this. Everybody agree? Then we would be moving to the body. First is the, which I have come across, which I actually noted down, is emergence of bullock cart capitalism. In the body, we are going to write in points. You guys are going to frame it as an answer, okay? The first one is the emergence of bullock cart capitalism. Again, I use this term so that you guys are able to understand what exactly this is, right? And it could be expected in a 10 marker question as well. Okay? Bullock cart capitalism. The term was given by Rudolph and Rudolph. You could just write bullock cart capitalism. And it was given by Rudolph and Rudolph. Okay. So I'm going to just explain what it is. Okay. You guys have to what we call make a short note. Get ready with the short note of this, please. Okay. It's a request. It's a to actually do on your own. That be ready with a short notes of bullock cart capitalism as well. Okay. I'm just going to explain. So bullock cart capitalism is where what you call farmers few things, what exactly is happening when it comes to green revolution and land, revenue settlement or land reforms, is that consolidation of land is happening, okay? Apart from that, what we call surplus agriculture is happening. Surplus agriculture, especially marketable surplus. Okay, marketable, I'm just going to explain the bullock cart capitalism. What is happening as a consequence of green revolution and land reforms? Consolidation of land is going on. Marketable agriculture surplus is coming up. Okay. Labor mobility is high. Labor mobility is high. Okay, previously it was patron based. The Jajmani system was guiding the labor mobility. And in Jajmani system, the labor mobility is low. Okay, now the labor movement is getting high. The mobility is increasing. Okay, few of the things that land reforms and green revolution is leading to. And that is where, with all this, kind of a prerequisite led to the development of bullock cart capitalism. Okay, so what is happening? These farmers are now, what we call having assets and capital to invest in what we call education, institution, real estate, even polity as well as an interest group. Okay, all this thing, as they are able to now what we call earn extra capital. This capital now they are diversifying in terms of their portfolio by going for building up of educational institution, investing in real estate, polity, and so on. And the polity, of course, the interest group thing. So now they would be, what we call having home in rural areas, and at the same time they would be having a urban presence. Okay, so they might be still living in rural areas, but they would be having a significant urban presence. That significant urban presence could take in the form of all this investment or maybe a shop or anything. Okay, so that entirely is the phenomenon of bullock cart capitalism. Okay, please be ready with a short note on this. It's a to-do exercise to do. Write on the second one. Has everyone completed the first point? We are moving to the second point, okay? You guys will also get a chance to add up on it. Change of patronage relationship. Change of patronage type relationship between class. Change of patronage type relationship between class. To possible exploitation. To possible exploitation. In the form of contract. In the form of contract. The nature of the relationship is changing from patronage to contract based. Okay? You could just write down, it has been said by P.C. Joshi. P.C. Joshi. We would be reading what exactly P.C. Joshi has said in the background part, but still that is something you could write, P.C. Joshi. The third one is free wage laborers. Emergence of free wage laborers. Third point is emergence of free wage laborers and footloose workers. Free wage laborers and footloose workers. What is a footloose industry? Example? Footloose industry is a type of industry your raw materials could be, easily available. So that's why it's a footloose. It could be just placed anywhere. Yeah. Okay. Write down the next one. Feminization of agriculture and poverty. The fourth point. Feminization of agriculture and poverty. It has been what we call stated by Nivedita Menon. Nivedita Menon. The feminization of agriculture and poverty has been stated or studied by Nivedita Menon. You could write down the fifth point: emergence of a new class of migrant workers. Emergence of a new class of migrant workers. Okay, again one small background from what we call paper 1. Okay, we are going to do a small exercise. Class formation or change in class formation due to capitalism. Okay, now you guys are going to state which are the thinkers which have stated about it. Okay, the first one is Marx. What did he said? Two class. Let whatever be the thing, whatever, there could be some middle class or anything, but everybody would just disseminate into only two class, right? That is what he has said. We are just doing an exercise of paper 1. Okay, again something that could be used here. Then the other guy is he said proliferation of middle class, right? Any other thinkers? Galthrop and Lockwood. So he would be saying formation of an entirely new class. Okay, apart from all this thing, formation of an entirely new class. Okay, I think we have just written that one, formation of an entirely new class. Okay, and that's why I did this very small exercise of paper 1. Okay, please do all this kind of a small exercise. I believe that will actually just help you to recollect all those things from paper 1 as well, and able to connect also. Okay, now my points are finished. You guys are going to help me to add points. Yes. Did we left anything in this? Yes, the conflict thing. True. Okay, so class conflict would be could be heightened. We could say has been heightened, especially after the Green Revolution. The farmers and peasants have become two distinct class. Okay, and that's why they are having a class conflict. The farmer interest is different, the peasant interest is different, so they are becoming two different class. The class conflict is getting increased. Okay. Yes. Okay. Westernization of, you could just say that what we call consumerism or something, the urban way of life, a very popular thing, urbanism as a way of life or urban way of life. Okay, that is spreading to the rural areas as well. Okay, so that could be a good what we call replacement of the term westernization. Okay, because never has MNS said anything. So urban way of life spreading, especially see, you could even talk about the market position. You have to relate it to the market position, because that is how the class is defined, right? If rural income, rural purchasing power is increasing, then only their market position would become better, and then only they could emulate the urban way of life. I hope everyone is connecting this, right? If the rural income or rural what we call rural money is increasing, income is increasing, purchasing power is increasing, then only their market position will change, and they would be able to reflect what is getting reflected in the urban way of life. Because you are still addressing the answer of class structure only, right? So we still should be revolving in that idea only. Okay, everything should be connected to the question. The focus point should not be Left. Yeah, the idea of dominant caste could be even used. It's true. Idea of dominant caste could also be used. Anything else? Yeah, that also we could actually say. This could be something that could be added as a corollary to this. Okay? Because dominant caste is someone who is already in richer hierarchy, man log ko upar hona padta hai na. Pretty good point, thank you. Could be added, okay? Mm-hmm. Yes. Basically, that is what it is popularly, it is said. If you could actually write, I believe it would be the 7th or 8th point in which you will write the feminist perspective. Feminist perspective. With increasing, could just write with increasing wealth, stricter control of patriarchy is practiced. With increasing wealth, stricter control of patriarchy is practiced over women. Is practiced over women. I'm yet to discuss the theories of agrarian class structure, but anyways, write down the next question that we are going to attempt. After we are doing this question, then we would be doing the theories, okay? Because theories are pretty much important. The second question of agrarian class structure. Critically analyze D.N. Dhanagre. Critically analyze D.N. Dhanagre. I don't know how to spell it again, okay? I just know how to write it. Views on agrarian movement in India. D.N. Dhanagre views on agrarian movement in India. Agrarian movement in India. Okay. See, it is pretty much, what you call, it is an entire, what you call, he has written a book. Okay. You guys don't have to read the book because I'm going to tell you the summary, okay. I actually didn't want to do this, not much of a productive work, but it's a pretty important, what you call, question. It's being asked. That's why I felt I should be sharing, okay. That's why I did. Just write down, we are just going to write down the summary of the book. So first, as usual, it is a, what you call, agrarian movement. So D.N. Dhanagre would be saying that, there is a difference. Agrarian movement could be farmers movement or peasants movement. Right? So you could just write in the introduction, write on the introduction. Agrarian movement could be classified into farmers movement and peasants movement, having different class interest. That is also, this statement, this classification has also been done by this guy only, D.N. Dhanagre. Okay, write on the body part now. We are now going to first summarize what exactly he has said on agrarian movement, and then we are going to critique it. The first point is, in the body, again it's a point wise, leadership comes from urban middle class and politician. Leadership comes from urban middle class and politician. Urban middle class and politician. Second point, the movement is properly organized and even represent the interest of small landlords. Okay, just again, we could actually use even this as an introduction, that basically this guy is going to study three popular movement, and that is Tivaga movement, then Telangana movement, and then the Naxalite movement. These three movement he has studied, okay? His entire work of this entire book is based on the study of these three movement, okay? That could be also a good introduction to start with, that the D.N. Dhanagare, study on agrarian social movement has been based on three popular movement, okay? So where was this? I think the name suggests, right? This? There's a red corridor, right? How many districts are there in red corridor now? Sorry? 12. Okay, that you have to see, okay? I'm going to spell it out anyway, but just not good to spell everything. Okay. After second point, write down the third point. Facts, figures, my dear, they are pretty much important thing. And newspaper still remains the most popular source for all this. Farmers and peasant movement. Third point it is. Farmers and peasant movement. Farmers and peasant movement are conceptually different. See, basically, what is the difference between what difference he is going to make is, as I said, it is based on different interests, right? Farmers or peasants. So farmers would be asking for more fruits of development. Why? Because, they are pretty much what you call well placed. They could actually, even buy all those things, right? They would go for more better education, more better health. These guys would be still struggling on the land rights, easy capital, on all those things. I hope everyone is getting what would be the different interest of all this two section, and that's why D.N. Dhanagare has said, what we call that land rights, credit, contract and everything, okay? So that is what they would be focusing on, different interest, and that's why D.N. Dhanagare has said that farmers and peasant movements are conceptually different, okay? He has even said that, if we actually define it, this timeline before independence and after independence, I believe there is a distinction with it. This is the farmers or this is the peasant. How was it? Has everyone studied this theory? Okay, I will just relook and then let you know, okay? Anyway, next point, farmers movement. See, the question was critique, okay? But still we are going to write it because it's a popular question that could come. Even the D.N. Dhanagare, a study on social agrarian movement can be a question, separate question, 10 markers. That's why we're doing this, guys. Farmers movement are class movement. Farmers movement are class movement and capitalist in nature. Okay. The next point is social structure and historical exploitative circumstances. Social structure and historical exploitative circumstances is the foundation to peasant movement. Is the foundation to peasant movement. Is the foundation to peasant movement. So this is what in summary he has said. Now we are going to write its critique again in points format. Just write it down. The first one is, leadership was not centralized. Leadership was not centralized. इसमें बोल रहे हैं ना, leadership is always in the urban middle class and politician. The critique could be written as, leadership was not centralized. Local leaders also emerged. Local leaders also emerged. In contemporary times, it has taken the form of leaderless movement. In contemporary times, it has taken the form of leaderless movement. अभी महाराष्ट्र में एक हुआ था ना, साइलेंट मार्च. लीडर कौन था उसमें? No one there, right? You could write an example. Example, the silent foot march, farmers' silent foot march in Maharashtra recently. Farmers' silent foot march. That again is a very wonderful moment. You know, you guys should actually go through it. And if you get a short snapshot of what exactly happened there, what were the regions of such a movement? Okay, how was it organized? Okay, from where to where, and what were the interaction? Okay, so basically what was happening is that these people were doing foot march, and it was so well managed that there was no traffic disruption also. When the people of the, the urban people, they were coming out in support for them. Okay, the entire dynamics, just go through its summary. Okay, have an idea of this, because a really wonderfully organized moment. And the urban people, they were coming with food packets and what we call water bottles to showcase their support, especially because it was so well organized that it was not causing any tension to the urban people, although it was movement toward rural to urban center only. Okay, so please go through this summary. Please go through idea of what exactly happened in this silent foot march. Okay, next critique is, देखो नेक्स्ट क्रिटिक आप लोग वो करने वाले हैं. इसमें हमने बोला है ना कि the movement was properly organized and it was protecting the interest of the small landlord as well. So we are going to critique and say that farmers and peasants exist in an exploitative relationship. Okay, just write it down. Next critique is, farmers and peasants, पता नहीं कैसे स्पेल करते हैं इसको, peasants. Okay, thank you Neha. Farmers and peasants are in exploitative relationship. Exploitative relationships में मुझे और भी याद आने लग जाता है कुछ. Hence interests are exclusive. Okay, the next critique is right on the third point, I believe. Farmers as a class in itself is under debate in India. Farmers as a class in itself is under debate in India. So you could use this thinker called Anand Chakrabarti. He has called farmers an underclass and not exactly a class. You could just write in bracket or anyhow that you want. According to Anand Chakrabarti, farmers are still an underclass and not a class. So class, what is a character, what we call criteria to call, a section of people as a class? What would Weber say? What would Marx say? Just tell me. Yes. So I hope everyone is able to connect this, right? Why a class? Why Anand Chakravarti would be, what we were saying, farmers as an underclass? Because it might not be fitting in the Weberian perspective of class or the Marxist perspective. Okay, the existing idea of class they might not be fitting in. That's why it's still under debate whether farmers form a class or underclass. Okay, and as we discussed, class according to Marx would be based on mode of production, and that would based on Weber would be the life chances, the popular term, right? Right on the next and last critique. The forms of agrarian movement. Okay, I'm going to take some time. I hope everyone is writing a few things. Okay, the form of agrarian movement keep changing with time. Keep changing with time. The form of agrarian movement keep changing with time. So D.N. Danagre said it is pretty much organized, but the forms keep changing with time. Okay. So that is the answer to this question. Now we are going to do some theories, small, for the agrarian class structure. Okay. Agrarian class structure. If the question is asked that, what we call explain the agrarian class structure or something on that line, you are going to use all these thinkers. Okay. The first one is, of course, very popular, is the Daniel Thorner. ऐसा ही है ना इसका नाम? Just write it down. Agrarian population of India could be divided into different class. These are theories and unrelated with the question, okay? But whenever the question is asked, you are going to try to utilize this, okay? That is the entire purpose. Agrarian population of India could be divided into different class based on three criteria. Could be divided into different class based on three criteria. The first one is, we are now going to talk about the criteria and not the class. Okay. First we'll discuss the criteria and then we will divide into what kind of class could be a possible option. Okay. The first criteria is type of income earned from land. The first criteria is type of income earned from land. Just after what you call X dash, you could just write such type of income could be rent, wage, or fruits of own cultivation. That is the first criteria. The second criteria is nature of rights held in land. Nature of rights held in land. Nature of rights held in land. That could be divided into proprietary. The nature of rights could be proprietary, tenancy, it could be tenant, it could be sharecropping, or it could be no rights. So basically the nature of rights could be defined, could vary from proprietary to tenancy to sharecropping to no rights. The third criteria is extent of field work actually performed. Extent of field work actually performed. Okay, so basically we talked about three criteria according to Daniel Thorner, right? And then he has divided into three classes. The first one is Malik. The first one is Malik with property rights. With property rights. The second one is Kisan. Second one is Kisan. And third one is Mazdoor. Third one is Mazdoor. Okay. Write down the Marxist classification of Marxist. I mean, how a Marxist would see the agrarian caste structure from Marxist perspective. Example could be Utsa Patnaik, one of the thinker. There are 5 kind of class based on Marxist perspective when it comes to 5 class. Okay, 5 class when it comes to agrarian rural structure. Right, just write it down. Bourgeoisie. Start with the bourgeoisie. Then capitalist type landowners. After bourgeoisie, it is capitalist type landowners. Third one is rich peasants. Rich peasants. The fourth one is landless peasants. Landless peasants. Landless peasants. And fifth one is agricultural laborers. The fifth one is agricultural laborers. Okay, so now we are going to study what P.C. Joshi, his study, what he has concluded in his study of impact of green revolution and land reforms to the rural agrarian structure. We are going to write down the conclusion, major conclusion of what P.C. Joshi concluded from the impact of what we call land reforms and impact of land reforms and green revolution on the agrarian rural structure. Just write it down in points. The first one is the decline of feudalistic and customary type of tenancy. The decline of feudalistic and customary type of tenancy. Feudalistic and customary type of tenancy and its replacement with more exploitative and insecure lease agreements. Okay. The second one is increasing importance of commercial tenancy based on rich and middle strata of peasants peasants, based on rich and middle strata of peasants who are part owners, who are part owners and part tenants, and part tenants. After full stop, they possess resources and enterprises. They possess resources and enterprises for dynamic agriculture. For dynamic agriculture. Okay. I believe just let me see, there are other as well. Okay, we have the industrial class structure also left, but we would be first moving to the middle class. Write down the question. We are going to discuss the middle class, okay? Agrarian हो गया है, अब industrial we are left with, and the middle class. We are going to attempt a question of middle class one, okay? In this, we are going to help me more. How has the new economic policy? Question is, how has the new economic policy? How has the new economic policy affected the lifestyle and life chances? How has the new economic policy affected the lifestyle and life chances in new middle class in India? Of new middle class in India? Of new middle class in India. Okay, now we are going to do the background part in which we are going to study the middle class structure. Okay, some theories and thinkers that we are going to study on this, starting with the Anthony Giddens. Anthony Giddens. Okay. Okay, so Anthony Giddens would be defining upper class based on ownership of property. The middle class, which we are interested in, in terms of educational and technical qualification, in terms of educational and technical qualification, and then we have the working class based on the manual labor. Pretty much true when it comes to Indian scenario. That's why I'm discussing the Anthony Giddens one. Okay, I'm just going to do a small, again, one of my favorite thing that I do is the timeline picture. Okay, how the middle class have evolved. Please follow it, and you guys have to, I'm not going to take notes about it, you just have to follow it properly. Okay, so we are going to start with 1830s. Okay, कौन सा चार्टर एक्ट था जिसमें एजुकेशन के लिए 1 लाख रुपए देने के लिए बोला गया था? 1813, right? Perfect. Okay. So that is a time, you know, what we call English education is going to start pretty much around that time. Okay. And that is a time when the middle class would emerge. The middle class in India is emerging due to the introduction of education, English education under the colonial rule. Okay. Before that, there, you know, absent, the middle class was absent before that. It started, the origin would start in 1800 somewhere around with the introduction of English education in the colonial rule. Okay. So these people would be turning into taking up occupation of lawyers, teachers, and at that time I believe it was called barrister, right? Oh, pretty much same, barrister and lawyer. It could be journalist, another thing that we could write. So middle class before independence, let's say is still, you know, time of Congress, the early one. Okay, somewhere around we are still in the 1870s, 80s. Okay, they're taking up occupation in these areas, still congesting the middle class. Okay, now we are moving to the time when they are demanding for representation, increase in representation in the civil services. Okay, so started with education, moved to job format, employment based, what we call class formation. Okay, started with the education only, and then we have somewhere in the 1900 in which the civil servant are also forming the middle class. Okay, we'd be going ahead and having independence somewhere. I think Independence Day is coming, right? So here, what is actually happening? We are having this mixed economy. इंडिया गेट में काइट कंपटीशन होता है, ठीक है, जाना है सब लोग, मजे आएंगे बहुत 15 अगस्त में. मिक्स्ड इकोनॉमी. ओके, सो मिक्स्ड इकोनॉमी में the PSU becomes the producer of, you know, that is the PSU, people who are employed in the PSU, they are the people who are forming the middle class. Okay, what they are doing, they are performing two important tasks. Okay, first is the saving. These are the people who will save. Okay, and I hope that is, there is a term called fixed capital formation. FCF economy में पढ़ा है, fixed capital formation, right? And that is dependent upon the savings, right? So middle class would be contributing to the economy in two forms. Just let me check the another form. It is saving and of course, yes. So they would be contributing to the economy through saving and working. Okay, working, yes, of course, they are part of the PSU. They would be contributing for development of capital goods and, you know, marketable goods, I mean the consumer goods, and they would be saving also simultaneously, leading to the formation of fixed capital. Okay, after that what is happening? Yeah, the service sector. Okay, they are the people now would be forming from the service sector. So PSU liberalization has occurred, 1990s it is, and now service sector would be providing you the middle class. Okay, I believe that has been the trend yet, or is there any change in trend? What do you suggest? Yeah, we could somewhere, you know, even write IT also here itself. Okay, I don't think apart from that they, you know, even service sector has been pretty much dominant, because those who are in the, you know, what you call earlier, they are the earlier generation in PSU or, you know, civil servant, they have already turned into upper class. So I believe that is a, you know, what you call, I believe this is a good, you know, what you call understanding of how exactly the middle class has developed. Okay, there is also one institute of commerce, accountancy, some economic research, something which has actually talked how it has increased from 20% in 1950 to it is assumed that by what we call 2050 it would be 80%, the middle class population, something on that line, or 70%. Okay, some graph also you could just make. Please check, you know, have the look at the graph through internet. Okay, it's not precise graph. I'm just suggesting there is a report which actually say that something on that format the middle class has increased. Okay, there is a theory by Anand Kumar which you guys should be noting it down. It's a very wonderful theory. Theory by Anand Kumar, again related to the middle class. So he is going to divide the middle class into urban middle class and rural middle class. Okay, please just write it down what exactly he has said. Urban middle class is market bound. Urban middle class is market bound. And rural middle class is power bound. One is market bound, another is power bound, okay? So urban middle class would be the, what you call, of course, both are based on what you call market structure, market situation only. But in rural urban class, it would be generating, it would be, what you call having such a market scenario because of the power it wields. Okay. In the urban area, it will still remain the market position. Okay. It would be market bound. It's a wonderful one. Yeah, we are not now going to read the theory given by AB, Andre Bete, whatever you say, on middle class, what he has commented on middle class. See, we have some Western thinkers also already. Okay, if you feel like you can actually make this again, what are the Western thinkers we could use for middle class? I think we have done it just now itself, right? It's a Marx, who will say it will just bye-bye. Weber, and then the Galthrop and Lockwood, right? Something on that line you could just go ahead. Okay, or maybe you can use a Frank Parkin also, social closure, double social closure that we discussed. Okay, if you are able to apply all these thinkers also, I believe it is pretty much good thing. Okay, have such kind of exercise always done in your notes making. That will actually help you that okay, what are the thinkers we could use when it comes to paper 1 also. Keep doing such a small exercise. We are still in the Andre Bete part, okay. According to him, middle class in India formed through different sources and at different point of time. I think this pretty much timeline diagram signifies the same thing, right? From different sources and at different point of time. And henceforth, they are not homogeneous like the West. So in West, what is the reason of formation of middle class according to Weber? It is the industrialization, right? It's the capitalism which is bringing the formation of middle class. बोर हो गए हो क्या तुम लोग? कुछ बोल ही नहीं रहे, क्या हो गया? 1 घंटा और पढ़ाऊंगा आज तो, जितना जल्दी बोर हो गया, क्योंकि मेरे को खत्म भी करना है जैसे भी. मेरे फ्रेंड्स आए हुए एक्चुअली, उन लोगों का पार्लियामेंट्री अटैचमेंट है. Anyways, okay. Habit of reading newspaper. Habit of reading newspaper. So we are going to write what are the characteristic of middle class. Just write simply habit of reading newspaper. Going for family vacation. Habit of practicing or habit of reading newspaper. Going for family vacation. This is my favorite one, okay. Going for family vacation. The next one is my favorite. Spending money on non-consumption. Spending money on non-consumption are constantly increasing. Are constantly increasing. But interrelationship, after full stop you are going to write, but interrelationship between a factory worker, a lower policeman, interrelationship between a factory worker, lower policeman, and a small trader, takes place in hierarchical manner. So in short, you could say Indian middle class reflect the situation of being in a paradox. Okay, just write it down. In short, we could say Indian middle class reflect being in a paradox. So on one hand, they would be emphasizing on equality, going for environment movement, and at the same time, they would be going for more of a patriarchy and removing the woman from household work. Okay, so that is a paradox that is being shown by the what we call Indian middle class. Okay, anything else? Okay, I believe the theories are pretty much complete. Now we are going to attempt this question. Okay. Yeah, please tell me what would be a good introduction for this. Pretty much simple. I go with the usual lifestyle and life chance. Okay? Define it. So there was one question which my friend was doing in GS test series. The question was something on that line. Ki how has the land topography going to impact the wind, local winds? Something on that line the question was. Okay. So rather than going for a general statement, I felt the topography definition itself could be a good introduction. Why? Because it is a it's a term in itself, right? And henceforth, I feel you might have thought about multiple, introduction for this, but always introducing a term is a good way to go with, right? Because it is going to, as I said in paper one when we were doing, even different type of, definition we are using only to ensure our answer is molded according to it, right? And henceforth, I believe I always go with the definition based, and that is lifestyle and life chances. Okay, can anyone tell me what is the definition of both of it? I don't remember. One has to help. Definition of lifestyle. This is pathetic anyway. Okay, let's move to the body part. So we are going to make a distinction, what we call, that how lifestyle is going to impact and how the life chances is going to impact, okay, of the middle class, especially after the 1991. We are still going to think in the transition period, okay. What was there before 1991, how was the lifestyle and life chances, and how lifestyle and life chances has become after 1991, okay. You guys have to help. I actually am lost with this. How is the lifestyle changed? Yes, we just wrote it down. Few of the lifestyle, right? Going to family vacation, the Andre Bete, whoever it is, you could use, right? The three characteristics: habit of reading newspaper, going to vacation, expenditure on non-consumption could be written. Okay? Even the very fact that relationship is hierarchical, or you could actually write the theory of social closure here. Okay? The middle class would be going for social closure, and I would be suggesting you actually write the double social closure, which is more suited to the Indian scenario. Okay? Double social closure idea by Frank Parkin. Okay? We have discussed it earlier, and that's why I'm not discussing. See, lifestyle, it's, caste, any social group would be able to establish a lifestyle only when it is going for closure, right? If it is not allowing the other people to emulate it. Because lifestyle is pretty much that, right? Life chances could be bought through money, but lifestyle is unique to the people who would be at any cost going for social closure. Henceforth, the very idea of double social closure could be utilized here. Okay? Anything else that we could utilize? The lifestyle has been more westernized, something on that line we could go ahead. Could be, right? Exactly. Yes. Westernization would, as I said, TIIV, technology, institution, ideas and values, right? Everything would come. We did the westernization thing, definition. Okay, what would be right in the life chances part? That is pretty much simple, I believe. First of all, the increase in choice. A very basic thing that has occurred, increase in choice. Right? People have now a wider variety. If you are not able to go for the, what you call Adidas, you could be going for the first copy of Adidas, right? Pretty much. Increase in choices. That is bound to. Like, I don't think even there would be some debate on this. I believe it is pretty much a truth. Anything else in life chances? Okay. Yeah, I mean, we could write abroad education, something on that line. Of course, that is happening only because of globalization only, and that 1991 reform only, okay? Yes. Again, health and everything we could actually. Access to health, quality health. See, one of the other thing that is actually happening is, what you call, which I felt is due to, see, liberalization was happening and privatization is happening. So yes, of course, what we call life chances is increasing because of the enterprising, enterprising spirit among middle class is increasing, right? Because choices to venture into, companies to venture into, that is increasing. So one must have to write about the enterprising thing that is increasing. Enterprising spirit in the middle class. See, life chances is also towards the traditionalism. Middle class are also people who are going for more consumption of religious goods and everything, right? They would be donating also I hope everyone is getting the traditionalism trend, what I am trying to say, right? Due to what we call liberalization, everything, they are able to what we call go for darshan and everything, right? And maybe even consume the musical CDs and musical, what we call religious music and everything. So there is even a tint toward traditional consumption as well. Only because the life chances has increased. Anything else in the life chances? Life chances is pretty much easy to fill, I believe. Anything else that we have left, you feel it is significant? Yes, it's a wonderful conclusion actually. Wonderful, what we call, we could write that in conclusion as well, that there existed a, what we call nexus between these two. Okay, even what we call, there was a nexus between lifestyle and life chances, because usually who were entrenched upper caste were able to have such a life chance as well. Okay. So there used to be a nexus between lifestyle and life chances. That has been broken after the 1991. Okay. Yes, yes. In lifestyle, you could actually say the market, what you call lifestyle based on caste has still been, it what continued. You could actually just say caste based or caste prescribed lifestyle remained in continuity. Caste prescribed lifestyle remained in continuity even after, that is something that actually remained continuous. Yes, that would also could be seen. Yeah, you could actually say it's a wonderful point. Lifestyle has become more uncertain. Oh, sorry, life chances have become more uncertain. Okay, you could write that this has become more uncertain, especially due to the fluctuation in market. Anything else? Yeah. Yes, that is also a wonderful one. I believe someone has said that, right? Was it LD or that guy? Srinivas himself. Someone has said that. Anyway, you could just write that lifestyle could be related to ritual hierarchy and life chances could be related to secular hierarchy. Okay. I hope everyone is able to distinguish between ritual and secular hierarchy. Anything else? Okay, so we did one question of impact on green revolution on that one, right? I actually was thinking of making a map also on this. If it was a 20 marker, I'm just going to tell you what exactly I was thinking of doing when it was written in my copy. Just added it to it. Because we have actually, left one of the prominent discussion of, what we call feudalism, semi-feudalism, capitalist, semi-capitalist. I hope everyone, must have read maybe. Okay, so here we are at the green revolution part we are doing, okay? And again, one must have to write that the mode of production is still debated, okay? One has to start with a disclaimer that mode of production is still debated, but still we are going to write it based on one thinker, and that is Utsa Patnaik, okay? What exactly she has said. According to her, Punjab and Haryana would be going for capitalist one, okay? Eastern would be going for semi-feudal one. Okay, here it would be semi-capitalist. Somewhere here even feudal alone. That kind of, what we call. Again, all this has been done by one thinker, and that is Utsa Patnaik. We left this in the last question, okay? That's why I'm just discussing. And you guys have to write few more points. Okay, write down the points. Parameter describing mode of production as capitalist. When a farming, when a agrarian structure would be capitalist, we are going to discuss. What are the parameters to consider an agrarian structure as a capitalist agrarian structure? That we are going to discuss. Write it down. Parameter describing mode of production. Parameter describing mode of production as capitalist. We are still in the agrarian part. Please do remember that. Parameters describing mode of production as capitalist. Number 1. This is something that we left in the Green Revolution impact. That's why I'm covering. Number 1. Capital investment in agriculture. Number 1. It's capital investment in agriculture. Number 2. Mechanization. Number 3. Development of intensive agriculture. Number 4. Production of commercial crops. Number 5. Agriculture through hired or wage labor. Paid in cash. The next subheading is parameter of semi-feudal mode of production. Now we are going to write parameters of semi-feudal mode of production. When does a mode of production become semi-feudal? Number 1. Prevalence of sharecropping. Number 2. Perpetual indebtedness in sharecropper and small tenants. Concentration of two modes of exploitation, that is concentration of two modes of exploitation, that is Asari, I don't know how to even explain it or spell it. I believe this is the term. 3. And land ownership. I just know that this means forced labor, okay? Something on that line it is. Okay? And land ownership in the hands of same economic class. Number 4 point, in the same economic class. 4th point, lack of accessibility to the market for small tenants. Okay, so I believe we would be ending the lecture today. We yet have to finish the industrial class structure and the nexus, or what we call caste and class. That one we have to do. Okay, that would be doing in the next class. Thank you.